hello, hello. This is Working Title with Zach Sams, and I am very excited to be here today. Very excited that the weatherman was wrong, and it is not raining. We've had enough rain. And welcome to the show, everybody. I'm glad we're here. This show is brought to you by the Real News Communication Network. This show is brought to you also by Kensington Vanguard, National Title of Texas. And everybody's like, what's this show about? And I'm going to tell you what it's about. This is a good news show. On this show, we will talk about what's going on in the greatest metro area of the country, here inside the greatest state in the country. We're talking about Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And why is this the greatest place? Because everyone wants to move here. Companies want to move here. Jobs are moving here, which makes people move here. And with businesses and people moving to Texas, our real estate market is booming, and that is creating excitement and all across the Metroplex. We live here, we work here, we play here, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about all the great things that are going on and what all that excitement is creating. And so we will have guests on to talk about all the things that are relevant as people are moving into this area or living in this area, what's going on, what's fun. And I've got a great, and I'm very excited about this guest today. She's a friend, she is a great client, and she's an all-around great person. Christie Cannon, owner, founder of the Christie Cannon Team with Keller Williams Realty. Christie, how are you today?
I am great, Zach. Thanks so much for having me today.
Well, you are so welcome. Thank you so much for coming down and being with us.
Thank you.
So a little bit about Christie, for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure all of you out there listening already know this, but Christie is one of the top 1%, or is in the top 1% of real estate agents selling homes here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. But on top of that, she's also in the top 1% of agents selling homes in the United States by Real Trends. And that's quite a feat, Christie. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. But it's not just me. I have a whole team behind me supporting and making us number one across the Metroplex as well as in the nation. So I got to tell them a big thank you.
Absolutely. And Christie, I can attest to that. She's got a great team. Every time I'm in your office, they're the sweetest people, and they all seem to genuinely care about what y'all are doing and helping families that are moving into Texas or moving out of Texas, or just maybe, buying that bigger home, or maybe, downsizing into that smaller home. You kind of work across all verticals there, right?
We sure do. And as far as our team, everybody on the team has the same mindset. It's all about helping families one at a time get into their home of their dreams, or sell to buy another home, move up, move in, or move out of the area.
Absolutely. So, Christie, tell us to be in the top 1%, I mean, just in DFW is, a feat among itself, in the country. How many homes did you sell last year? What do you got to do to get there?
So we sold about 355 homes last year. And
wow.
That was, it was really half and half. Half of that was people selling homes, and the other half of that was people purchasing homes.
Right.
And in order to do that, it's definitely not me by myself.
Right. You couldn't work. Yeah, that would be, you would never sleep, I don't think.
No, I wouldn't sleep, and I would have a whole head of gray hair, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
What the way that we do it is we do work as a team, and we have specialists on our team, and we have specialists that help with purchasing, and we have specialists that help with selling. And with that team effort, each person specializes in their own field. So we have a closing department. She specializes in helping people through the closing process. We have buyer specialist, listing specialist, as well as management transaction specialist that work all the way through the process to make sure that everything from marketing to communications to getting everybody on the same page, facilitating everything all the way through that process is handled accordingly.
And so that's kind of like, really, you're trying to keep your people 100% focused on specific tasks through the real estate process.
Absolutely. I learned early on that as a real estate agent, you wear so many different hats, and you can't just be a generalist and take good care of people. So I found early on that by being able to leverage the right people and find people who truly specialize in each field or in each aspect of the transaction really helped our clients better understand everything, because we're not just skimming the surface. We're making sure that our clients are educated, they're knowledgeable about everything happening, and they have the best person taking care of them at that time of the transaction.
And it's probably important that their expectations are known and that y'all create the right expectations for how the process is going to go.
Absolutely. And so we've been able to, one of the things that I've been able to do is really systemize that process for the clients, making sure that all of the marketing and the best marketing, not just the marketing, but the best marketing, top technology, top techniques, everything that could possibly be done to help a home sell faster. We're doing it, we're implementing it, and we're making sure that that client sees the benefit from that, as well as on the buy side that we have the best people working and looking for our clients, and that our clients' best interest is truly at heart. Whereas we're not just looking for a paycheck.
Right.
That comes second to us. It's our client's interest that always comes first.
If you accomplish their goals, the paycheck's always at the end, right?
Absolutely. And we're not looking for just a paycheck. We're looking for somebody who is going to rely on us and let us be that real estate company of choice for the rest of their life. We want them to call us 2 years down the road, 5 years down the road. If there's any problem, again, we're there to help them.
That's really exciting. And that's you don't hear that a lot from people's experience in real estate. Usually it's more, it's kind of, what is that 3 or 33 rule? Like if something doesn't go right, they're going to tell 33 people. And
Exactly.
And that's kind of that's the mantra you hear out there.
Yes.
And why do you think that is? Why do people feel like, they didn't have a good real estate experience? Is there a common trend that you find in people that say that?
I do. And one of the things that I find most common whenever we're talking to clients that have had a bad experience, one of the things that we find is a lot of times the agents they were working with weren't as knowledgeable as they should have been, or weren't as educated, or they weren't asking the right questions. And so one thing we want to do is we want to make sure that they don't have to know what questions to ask, that all that information is given to them up front.
Right, and y'all ask the right questions to
absolutely.
Some people don't know how to articulate what they want sometimes, right?
Yes. So we want to make sure that we're asking the questions and we know what the why is. And once we know what the why is, we can best assist that family.
What's the biggest why right now in somebody maybe selling a home?
The biggest why right now is the market is doing great and they've got equity and they're looking at, whoa, we've got a great opportunity here interest rates are still very reasonable right now. We're not anywhere near what we should be. And so interest rates are low, they've got equity, and they're looking at purchasing another property. They've got that equity to put down on the next house. And that is the biggest why we're seeing right now. They want to be able to sell their house and turn around, purchase a new house with as little money out of pocket, and we're doing it time and time again right now just because of where the market's at.
That's exciting.
It's very exciting.
Is that kind of two ways? So, you're going to have one family that, they bought at the right time, so their equity's high, and it allows them to maybe buy that bigger home for their family as it grows. But I would say inversely to that, somebody that's been in their property for a while and it's now time to downsize, they've built some good equity to probably help in their retirement if they were to buy a smaller property and kind of get out of maybe all the extra housework or upkeep that a larger house takes.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we're seeing is not only people who have been in their house for a while maybe looking to downsize. And what's funny is when we say downsize, what I hear most often is I don't necessarily want to downgrade, but I want to downsize. I don't want the McMansion anymore. Kids have moved out. Kids are out of school, whatever the case may be. So we don't necessarily want to downgrade, but we just want to have something a little bit smaller and maybe even a little bit nicer. So we see that a lot, but we also see people who have purchased their home a year and a half ago who have turned around and said, hey, our family's growing, or for whatever reason, we're downsizing, upsizing. And in this market today, they're still in a great position to be able to make that move without any money out of pocket. We just did it about 3 days ago. I ran all the numbers, looked at everything, and that is the most exciting thing, to be able to say, hey, you've built up that equity in a year and a half. That is very cool. And of course, that's going to vary from neighborhood to neighborhood.
Right.
Not everybody out there is going to be in that position, but it is very exciting when you sold somebody a home a year and a half ago and they bought at just that right price and they're able to turn around and move into something with little or no money out of pocket.
Yeah, and if they've been in Texas for any, good amount of time, that's not the norm that in a year and a half you would have
not the
made
norm.
that kind of equity.
Not the norm at all, but it depends. It's neighborhood dependent, city dependent, but we are in a great little area right now. We have so much opportunity with all the growth and the expansion that we're seeing that's not out of the norm right now. We've seen it several times over and over again.
And you're in the Frisco area is where your office is. I know you do business all over the Metroplex, but Frisco, I mean, it's just continuing to just explode.
Yep.
And is that explosion creating more opportunities for y'all, or are things starting to get built out? Is Frisco still a great place to move? Like, what's your thoughts there?
So Frisco's still an excellent place to move, and a lot of times our sellers are thinking that we have so many companies coming in that they're going to jump ahead of that growth, and that people are coming in and they're going to be willing to pay more. That's not necessarily the case. So people are still looking at market value. Market value has gone up, and what we're anticipating over the next 4 or 5 years from all of the analysts that have looked at everything, everybody's saying probably about a 4 to 5% appreciation. We're not going to see those huge spikes that we saw 2013, 2014. We saw some great spikes in pricing. Everything went up, and we're balancing out right now. And I think we're going to see a more stable market, even with our growth and the potential that we have from all of the corporations moving in. I don't think we're going to see those spikes. So
and I would consider that's kind of a good thing, right? We
kind
of need to level out, because I think most people would say that stability is a good thing. Right?
Absolutely, and it becomes more balanced. And yes, we're still going to see that anything really under 300 right now has a very high demand. So we're still going to see that high demand in those lower price points. But as we start getting into over 300, as you move in closer to the 500s, that price point driven property, it's a lot more balanced.
So there's different markets inside the price points,
absolutely.
Right? Well, Christie, hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about these different price ranges and how that works, and talk about a couple good pieces of news that I just uncovered. And then you have something to share with us that's happening this Saturday, so we'll talk about that as well. We'll be right back. This is the Working Title Show with Zach Sampson. Whoa, Zach, that is some funky music. I like it. Is that Flea?
Yes. No, actually, it's not. It's retro 70s groove, believe it or not. Yeah.
I think that's a pen name for Flea,
it might be.
On his solo album.
It's that slap bass.
Yeah, slap bass. That was great. The first song you played earlier was good, too. I don't know who that was. My show's gotten so popular now that we can't play, like mainstream music, I guess, without paying the artist or something.
I'll give him a plug. The first one was the Beastly Boys.
I thought that had that sabotage kind of
it's exactly
Boys
what that was.
Sabotage from Ill Communication track 6 music to it. That's where my memory is still clear when I was, a teenager. These days,
a biblical knowledge.
I could never
rock.
remember a track to anything anymore. But hey, we're recording. This is the Working Title Show with Zach Sampson. We are back. Zach played some good music today, way better than last week, so we're glad about that. And still with me, Christie Cannon, founder of the Christie Cannon Team with Keller Williams Realty. Christie, again, thank you for being on the show with us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So I want to come back to what we were talking about here in just a second on the last segment. But before that, I just wanted to share a couple pieces of news, and I found this interesting. People are thinking, maybe are companies still moving here? And it was just announced in the Dallas Business Journal that Boston healthcare firm is relocating their headquarters to downtown Dallas at Stewart Healthcare Systems. Now, they're only bringing about 100 people into Dallas, but they're executive team, so they're probably going to be in the higher price point, which we're already segueing back to that price point. So we'll get there. But this company employs 37,000 people nationwide.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a big company coming to Dallas. So just, continuing that trend of companies moving here and favoring our business climate. So that is really exciting, and we'll link to that on the website. Also, it's still going on, this Amazon HQ2. I mean, talk about these guys dragging it out. I mean, make a decision already, right?
They're getting more publicity by dragging it out.
I guess so.
Do you think there's anything to that? I mean, I know we made the second tier or whatever, but there's still like 15 other cities. You think we really got a shot at this?
I don't know. I think anybody, everybody that they're looking at, I think we do have a shot at it. Look at everybody else moving here. Why wouldn't they move here?
Yeah, I think we have a shot at it for sure. I think they give us some bad press, like Dallas ain't hip enough, for Amazon. But, at the end of the day, we're got a lot of land. We're in the central part of the country, and so I don't know.
Access.
It'll be interesting to see what happens there, and I'm sure we will report on it first here on the Working Title Show.
Who's
with
saying?
Zach Sams, as long as they announce it about 15 minutes before 1 o'clock on a Tuesday, we could be one of the first to report.
Who's saying Dallas isn't hip enough? Give me a name. Who are these people? Yeah, let's get to the bottom of this. Let's get them on the show.
The so-called experts, and nobody knows who these experts are or where they live, but they're always being quoted on the news. The experts, this.
Like the people who vote in the Academy Awards.
It could be. You know what? I'm going to call us experts. I think we're experts now. I mean, we do have a microphone in front of us, so there's some expert.
We have lights. That counts.
Yeah, we do. And I know of two experts here, Mr. Zach Lewis, our producer, and Christie Cannon, top 1% in the nation real estate. And I just got y'all fooled here, listening to me. So I'm glad y'all are here.
If you've made it this far, welcome home.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Episode 20 we're on, so we're excited about that. So let's circle back into the price points that we kind of left off on there on the last segment. So, we haven't talked about that a lot on this show, but, the market, it's pretty fragmented, right? And it's fragmented by, price points.
Yes.
How much do homes cost? Which price range sells fast? Which one is slower? And so what's your barometer on that? What's the hottest price range? What's not so hot? Can you expand on that a little bit?
Hottest price range is going to be anything under $250,000, and that's because we have a lot of new home inventory out there, a lot of new home builders in the area, but believe it or not, it's hard to find a brand new home for under $400,000 now.
Yeah.
You have to really go to the outskirts, the outlying areas outside of even the suburbs now to find something in that price point. So when something comes on,
that's interesting. So let me ask you a question on that. Like, what's the outskirts now? Because the outskirts now is different than it was probably 3 to 5 years ago.
Absolutely,
isn't it?
It's growing like crazy. So Frisco used to be outskirts.
It did.
Frisco used to be Oklahoma.
That's how Frisco became the fastest growing area, because it was an outskirt and then just started booming. But it's not an outskirt anymore. People
Not at all.
commute to Frisco.
Big businesses, look at everybody moving to that Frisco, Plano area.
Yeah.
And so we're no longer Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And now when you look at Dallas proper is, I think Dallas proper expands beyond the walls. It used to be everything within the loop.
Right.
635. That was Dallas proper. Now that seems like almost like a dying area.
Because then it went to the Turnpike. Now the Turnpike is crazy.
Yes.
Now then it went to 121 Tollway. Now we're catching traffic there. It's just good problems, right? Good problems of a good economy.
It's great problems. So could you imagine Frisco being like the new downtown?
Well, I know Legacy West isn't necessarily in Frisco, but it's right there on that Plano-Frisco line, and I know you know that area, and it's hopping. It's a fun place to be.
There's condominiums there selling for over $1 million. Go figure.
That's amazing.
That's wait, really? You're not just making that
no,
up? Really?
No,
Oh
really.
my gosh.
There's high rises, condos selling for over $1 million, and there was a wait list.
Wow.
You've made it big when there's a wait list.
Yes.
That's when you've finally made it.
Yes.
That's incredible. So where are the outskirts? Where do you buy a $250,000 new home? Where do you have to go?
So 380, the 380 corridor, that's the next, that's a huge area. Even there, you can get beautiful homes up in that area for $250,000, $300,000. And used to, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, that was kind of the norm in our area, that 250, 300 price point. But it's really become the scarcity in our immediate area. And so that 380 corridor is the best bet for somebody looking in that 250 range. Great homes. They can still get new homes. They can still get newer pre-owned homes in that area. And there's great schools, great access, great commute, still in that 380 corridor area. And even when you go east or west of that, when you go up to Argyle, in that area, you've got some great opportunities.
I've heard of Argyle.
Have you heard of that?
I have.
Even out, if you go east of 380, when you go into east of McKinney area, even in McKinney, there's still some good opportunities in certain neighborhoods.
Right. So, well, let me ask you about that. So, new construction. I mean, can you help people with new construction, or do they have to go to a builder? How does that work?
New construction we help with all day long. And so one of the things, we've helped people in the past try and sell their homes, and their quote to us, we got a better deal because we bought it directly from the builder. And I cringe.
Yeah, that was my next question.
Oh, I cringe because I go, oh my goodness. And so
if they buy from the builder, there's a salesperson there usually, right?
Yes.
But that person works for the builder.
They work for the builder. They work for the builder's best interest. They want to get that top. They want to make sure their bottom line is still very good.
Right.
And so as an agent, we see these new homes all the time. We see the margins on these new homes all the time. And we know, for the most part, what that margin is, depending on who the builder is. And so we know what their incentives they're willing to give up. We know how far to push them. And we can 9 times out of 10 get a much better deal than an independent buyer on their own.
Right. And is that a common misconception that a consumer thinks that going directly to the builder is a better deal for them?
It is, because what the builder will say is, we've had builders tell the buyers, hey, if you don't buy with an agent, we'll give you 3% off. Where in reality, we probably could have gotten that buyer 5% off if they had used an agent. So it's kind of a misnomer that it's that all happens behind the scenes, and a lot of people don't even realize it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's interesting. So you just bought a new home, didn't you?
We did.
Yeah.
We did, and we're loving it.
Did y'all use an agent?
Does my husband count?
Yeah. I think so. So are y'all enjoying y'all's new home?
We are. We're loving it.
And
loving
y'all are
it.
in Frisco, right?
We are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. We're on the west side of Frisco.
Right.
So,
the cool side.
the cool side.
Yeah.
No,
sure.
not really.
But
Actually,
all of Frisco
you know
is
what's
cool.
funny is that's another misconception. Everybody's like, well, the west is better than the east. And
yeah, I haven't heard that, but I don't live in the area, so why would somebody say that?
depending on where you're from, a lot of people think that the west is better. But when you come to Frisco, the east, the west, it's all balanced out.
Weren't you on the east side before?
We were.
Yeah,
we went
it was
from
a beautiful
we
home.
went from east to west, and so anywhere in Frisco. I mean, everything is so nice and new. It doesn't matter if you're east, west, central. Regardless, it's got great schools, great areas, and even the outlying areas around there.
That's excellent. Well, Frisco continues to set records, right? So, first-time home buyers, how are they doing in the market these days? Are y'all working with first-time home buyers?
We are. We're working with a lot of first-time home buyers, and that first-time home buyer, depending on their price point, that's where we see a lot of activity, because a lot of those first-time buyers, they're looking in that $250,000, $350,000 range. They want to get into a nice house, nice schools, nice neighborhoods, and sometimes it can be a little bit of a struggle because they're not the only ones looking in that price range. We've got lots of first-time people, lots of competition for those price ranges. So being able to get your foot in the door, see what's coming soon, pre-marketing, just really fine-tuning and getting a jump start before those homes hit the market is key,
right?
Because it's a little bit of competition out there for that.
Absolutely. And so, how much does it cost a first-time home buyer to utilize somebody like Christie Cannon to buy a home?
Would you believe me if I told you it was free?
Is that a misconception that it's free to hire the top 1% real estate agent in the country? It's free to use you if you're a first-time home buyer or a home buyer at all.
Totally free. It doesn't cost you anything. How crazy is that?
Right. Now, I know why that is, but I don't think everybody understands that. Explain why it's free for somebody buying a home to work with you.
So whenever a builder is selling a home, whenever a seller is selling a home, that's how we get paid. They pay us. A buyer does not pay us directly ever, and we would never, ever, ever allow a buyer to pay us because that's not who we are. We want to do the best job for the buyer, make sure they're taken care of, and make sure that they don't have to pay us 1 cent.
That's excellent. And I've heard that many times that somebody thinks it's going to cost them something, but it's that seller or that builder, whoever the homeowner is paying the agent
and
to sell the home.
That's already pre-negotiated up front. And so
they're expecting that.
They're expecting that.
Right.
They know that. And that's where we come out and we work in that buyer's best interest to make sure they're taken care of all the way through the process.
Well, that's really good. So first-time home buyers out there, you have options. And like you said, in that competitive environment, you better have a good agent with you, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Somebody who knows how to write things up to get you to the top of that list to make sure that seller looks at your offer and that you're considered and not just one amongst 10 or 12 offers.
Absolutely. So so tell us, in that process, what are some of the pitfalls that people, find themselves in when they're, working through the sale or purchase of a home?
So a couple of things. A lot of people think that you have to put a lot of money down when you're buying a home. A lot of people tell us, we hear all the time, we don't have 20% to put down. First-time home buyers, depending on where you're at in the process, a lot of times, depending on where you're buying as well, there's areas that we can get you in for no money down. And so that's I think the biggest pitfalls and the biggest misconceptions on a buy side is you don't need 20% to put down. You can get into a home for as little as no money down, 3.5% down, 5, 10, 20% down. There's all kinds of options. There's grants available to you. And the best advice that we can give someone is talk to a lender. Talking to a lender is free. It doesn't cost you anything. It'll take you 10, 15 minutes of your time. And talk to a lender, find out, explore your options before you say no or before you close that door. And right now, because the market is so good, because the economy's good, a lot of people think that they're going to rent and that renting is the better option, when in reality, renting is actually costing them more than it would to purchase.
Absolutely. And rents go up every year. Your mortgage, once you're locked into a mortgage, that kind of stays the same, doesn't it?
It does. It does. The only thing that's going to go up is your taxes. So just watching your taxes, and there again, utilizing the help of an agent.
Right.
If your taxes come in and you feel that they're high, that's where we tell our clients, call us.
Mine are always high.
Call me.
I'm going to. I'm going to. They're always too high. Taxes. That's another, kind of, I wouldn't say it's a good problem, because of the strong economy that we're in, right? Homes keep going up. So hopefully hopefully those taxes won't rise too much, though.
Yes,
Yeah,
hopefully
absolutely.
not. Hopefully not, especially in my new house. Woo!
Absolutely. So, Christie, we're going to take a break. When we get back, I want you to tell us about your exciting news that's coming up this Saturday. Also want to find out how we get a hold of you. And also, if somebody is wanting to talk to that lender, I'm sure that you probably know some that would be good to talk to. So I would assume that somebody can call you to get that information as well, correct?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, this is the Working Title Show with Zach Sams with Christie Cannon. We will be back in just a few moments. Thanks for listening. All right. We are back. This is the last segment of the Working Title Show with Zach Sams. Still with me. I've been able to keep her here. Christie Cannon, founder of the Christie Cannon Team with Keller Williams Realty. Christie, again, so glad you're here.
Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, as alluded to earlier, you've got some exciting news. The what's happening this Saturday? What can the viewers of daytime Saturday TV be looking forward to?
Oh my. So I am going to be on the new American Dream television show, which
Exciting.
is going to air on channel 21 at 1 p.m. this Saturday.
1 p.m. this Saturday, you will be on the show. So that is so exciting. So you're going to be a regular occurring contributor on the American Dream. This isn't the only time you're coming on. We're going to see you probably once a month, from what I understand.
I believe so, yes.
That is,
yes, as long as they'll continue to have me.
I imagine that they will. Top 1% in the nation. Yeah, you've got good things to contribute. So tell us a little. So, we do this every week. We talk about some upcoming segments on the American Dream Show, and we're super excited about that. But, tell us, what drew you to the American Dream? What about, I know you're at the casting call and you decided, hey, this looks like something I want to do. So tell us about, your thought process there. Why were you excited to, take this venture on?
So in going forward with the American Dream, I think one of the biggest things that drew me to it was the positivity. We see so much negativity in today's news and the environment and everything else, and it's just a nice, refreshing, positive spin on things that are happening not only here in our area but across the nation. And it's not just real estate related. I think they're talking about everything.
They are, and it's feel-good stories where, I think it's a good thing to watch something and be like, all right.
Kind of like chicken soup on air.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, I like that. I'm going to have to tell Craig Sewing about that. He's going to love that. But yeah, you're right. It's just, you watch the show and you come away thinking, hey, the American Dream still is alive.
Yes.
Right? And what better, segue for the American Dream than home ownership? I mean, that's really kind of the foundation of the American Dream, right?
It is, and that's one of those feel-goods and that's, I think, what keeps me ticking is that American Dream and being able to help families achieve their American Dream by home ownership. Right. And our goal is to help as many families as we can gain home ownership, and that's part of, the American Dream. That is the American Dream. And so, of course, naturally, being drawn to the American Dream, the show, I couldn't say no.
Absolutely. Well, we're excited to watch you this Saturday. So, tell us a little bit. What are you going to be talking about? What message are you sending out on the airwaves this weekend?
So this weekend, we're in spring season, and it's right upon us. And so one of the biggest questions is, what do I need to do? I'm thinking about selling my home, but how does that process even work? What do I need to do? What steps do I need to take? How do I prepare? What do I call an agent? Do I not call an agent? And so we're going to be talking about the steps that you can take, things that you can do to prepare your home for sale, because it's not just about calling a real estate agent. There's so much preparation and involvement prior to even getting your home listed on the market to where prior to buyers coming in. It's a whole process.
So when you say the spring season, are you referring to, so what do you mean by that? In the real estate industry, I know what you mean, but what does that mean to the everyday person out there? Yeah.
So the spring season to us is where school is right there on the horizon. School's going to be getting out. People are really starting to look. People are starting to think about maybe this is time for buying a home, selling a home. And that's when a lot of the real estate activity occurs, is over that spring, summer season. So the spring is kind of that segue into those summer months where kids are out of school, people are looking, it's warm, the weather's great, you don't have to worry about it being cold and icy and miserable looking for a house.
People are coming out of their homes again, right? It's like that spring cleaning season almost, right?
Exactly. And when they start looking at spring cleaning, that's when people go, you know what, I think we're ready to sell our house.
Yeah, they're like, I have too much stuff in my house and garage. Let's get a bigger place so we can hold more stuff.
Yes, just went through that.
Yeah. So I'm, it's about to be spring break month. I'm thinking, you know what? We've kind of outgrown this home. I'm thinking maybe we want to look at selling this home and getting a bigger place. Our family's growing, so what is your best advice for someone like me who's got these thoughts bouncing around? What do I do?
So let me guess. You've been watching HGTV and you see, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to change out my kitchen cabinets and my countertops.
No, what I'm thinking is I can buy a house for $1,000 and sell it for $1 million with, some duct tape and, my tool belt.
Yeah, you didn't. Right? You forgot the bubble gum.
And my bubble gum. There you go.
So that is one of the biggest misconceptions when you're looking at selling, is people think that they have to redo their entire house. And so we've actually gone over to folks' homes and we've gotten their past the point to where they've already spent $10,000 in upgrades that really weren't necessary. And our goal is to try and educate somebody and let them know, hey, these are the things that we advise. We want you spending as little money out of pocket because the whole name of the game is to net as much as possible whenever you sell, right?
Right. When you're the seller, I mean, the end game is how much money is going,
right.
in my bank account
Exactly.
to buy that next home or to go towards retirement, right?
Exactly.
So let me ask you this, because you mentioned something. You said they spent $10,000 on upgrades. So, give us an idea of, what they thought was going to be a good idea to spend some money on prior to you coming over there, the expert about selling their home.
They thought that they needed to add granite counters. They thought that it needed to look like that home on HGTV that they remodeled completely. And that's not always necessarily true because every neighborhood, every city, you're going to have differences from city to city, neighborhood to neighborhood. And that's where we see these homes each and every day. And if everybody out there has a significant amount of upgrades and you don't, maybe we will advise you to do some upgrades, but then again, maybe it's just pricing it correctly, and you'll gain more out of that than you would having to do upgrades.
So if you had a home, let's say what hadn't been updated as much as the other ones, right? And you might say something like, you know what, let's just price it $3,000 under the going price range in this neighborhood versus spending $6,000 upgrading your countertops and in some of your hardware.
So when buyers come through, they're visual. They want it to look as visually appealing as possible. So there's a lot of things you can do without spending a lot of money. And those things could be simple as painting, maybe refreshing some carpet, maybe just a good thorough cleaning is all it needs.
Right.
And let the experts come through. Let your real estate agent come through and give you that knowledge and tell you, hey, you just need a really good cleaning, and we can still price this just as competitively as the people who sold, over the last 3 months, and still net you a great amount.
Or more than we would have. Right.
And all it takes is a thorough cleaning, and our company, we have a stager that comes in.
Right.
They come in, and a stager will go through and help you place everything and really make it that model home-esque look.
And you probably also know the right cleaning people to call who give you the best deal and actually do a good job, and because you've called these people before.
All of the above, yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, the number one thing, call Christie Cannon or call that, your realtor and get an expert realtor, experienced, proven realtor.
And do that
right?
before you start spending money.
Right.
And here's the other thing. I have people tell me all the time, oh my gosh, I don't want you coming over because the house is a mess. That's okay.
Yeah, but you've never seen a messy house, so
never.
That might
never.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know what to do. So don't even worry about that. We see homes every day, and what's funny is somebody will ask me, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Did you see my pile of whatever it was?" Honestly, no. I look at them and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm looking at the features, the layout. If I processed everything that was in their house, it would be information overload. Don't care about what they have in there right now. All I'm looking at is how it's going to look whenever we list it.
Right.
Seeing that vision and being able to help them through that process and itemizing out, these are the steps that you need to take to get you ready. Here's the people you need to call, and let's look at this over the next 2 weeks to get you prepped and on the market for that high price.
Absolutely. So, what are a couple things that you would probably suggest to anybody prior to coming on the market that are no cost or low cost? It's kind of always something that we do. What would a couple of those things be?
Easiest thing is what we've all heard, depersonalize, which means taking down all of your family photos because you don't want people coming through and remembering you or knowing you for that matter.
Right.
Or you go to the same school, church, or whatever it may be.
Right.
So you want to get your pictures, whatever it is, out of the house because you want them to be able to visualize themselves and not you in the house. So depersonalizing and then decluttering. Decluttering is the big thing. Less is always best. So taking down a lot of extra things off shelves, above the cabinets in the kitchen, take everything off the refrigerator, and really, really clean it up in that regard. Take everything you can off the kitchen counters, leave 2 or 3 key staging items, which is going to be those focal, just something really nice, eye-catching, pops of color, little things like that that are going to just add just any type of little warm it up.
And y'all can advise on
Pop
those
it.
things.
Absolutely.
And what's the other thing?
And the other thing is to really make it, you want to really neutralize it. So if you have very strong colors in your main areas, your kitchen, your master bathroom, neutralize those colors, tone them down. So no bold reds. Red used to be in, not anymore.
What about my electric purple? Would this work?
In a bedroom, it would be great.
Okay.
So your secondary bedrooms, I always tell people that's not your focal points. Your focal points, your front door, as soon as somebody walks in the door, usually within the first 60 to 90 seconds, a buyer knows if that's their house or not.
Yeah.
It's called the warm and fuzzy.
Right.
When they walk in and they feel it in their tummy and they go, oh, this is it. And they continue to walk through and get that warm and fuzzy. You can see it on their face. And so right when somebody walks in the door, you don't want an orange ceiling. You don't want starburst orange walls.
You want to fuel
like
that warm and fuzzy.
You want to fuel it. You want it to be very inviting when they first walk in. And the other thing I tell people is, this is kind of a funny one, but it's an easy way to remember, is use your airplane arms. So stick your elbows out, elbow to elbow. Walk through your house, elbow to elbow, just like this.
Okay.
And if you start running into furniture pieces, or if you have to go sideways to squeeze through somewhere,
you're a hoarder.
You're cozy.
Right, yeah.
So you want to open it up, because otherwise your house might seem a little too cozy for a lot of the buyers.
Sure,
so let's open it up, put the elbows out, walk through your house. And if you've got those furniture pieces that are keeping you from walking through elbow to elbow, then you might want to move them out to the garage. The garage is not a selling point. Every garage in your neighborhood probably looks almost exactly the same. Stick it in the garage. It's not going to hurt the home sale.
Absolutely. Very, very good tips. And to hear more tips, let's tune in on TXA 21 at 1 p.m. this Saturday to hear more from Christie Cannon on, the theme is, what do I need to do in this spring season, if I'm thinking about selling a home?
Absolutely.
And the key thing is call.
Yes, give us a call.
And Christie, how do we get a hold of you? We will put this on the website, but go ahead and give us a little quick way to find you.
Perfect. Our main office number is 972-215-7747, or you can always go to our website at christiecannon.com.
Awesome. Christie, thank you so much again for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
Absolutely, absolutely. So visit Christie Cannon's website for more information, or call that number, and please tune in this weekend to watch Christie on the American Dream TV. We'll be right back. This is Working Title with Zach Sams. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for subscribing to the podcast and listening today. I want to give a special thanks to Kensington Vanguard National Title of Texas. The show is sponsored by them, and Kensington Vanguard is a national title company with local people working here in Dallas-Fort Worth, specializing in commercial title insurance and residential title insurance. Kensington Vanguard will handle your escrow needs as well as your title insurance and your closing services. So you can go to the website at www.kv-lonestar.com to find our locations and our contact information. And we appreciate you using Kensington Vanguard National Title of Texas. We look forward to seeing you next week, where we will be talking about solar energy in the residential and commercial spaces. And we are really excited to hear about that. Something I wanted to know about, so I'm really excited to hear more about how that works. So we'll catch you next time on Working Title with Zach Sams. Thank you.